A very good afternoon and season's greeting to honorable dignitaries, distinguished speakers, guests, and esteemed participants. This is Dr. Sonali Chaudhary from School of Epidemiology and Public Health, and with me I have Mr. Ashutosh and Dr. Akhilesh Agrawal as coordinators. On behalf of our university, we cordially welcome you all for this webinar on grant opportunities, the disruptive innovations in the COVID world. The webinar is jointly organized by School of Epidemiology and Public Health and Research and Development Cell of the DMIMS University. It's indeed a great privilege and honor to have eminent speakers for today's webinar.
We have today prominent personality of public health, Professor Sanjay Jhodhpe. He is presently working as a Vice President Academics, Public Health Foundation of India, and also holds the Directorship of Indian Institute of Public Health, Delhi. He is a National President of IAPSM. Professor Jhodhpe is a hardcore public health professional, epidemiologist, and scientist. His current professional interests include global health, health system research, maternal and child health, vaccines, health workforce development, and education of health professionals. He is involved in designing and implementing several capacity development initiatives, include on-campus and distance learning academic program at PHFI. Dr. Jhodhpe is going to enlighten us on the topic, seeking research grants, improving your odds. So I request sir to take over.
Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. Dr. Ved Prakash Mishra, who happens to be my teacher, Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, distinguished panelist for today's discourse, academic leadership of the Tamega Institute of Medical Sciences and University, and ladies and gentlemen, it is my extraordinary pleasure to be part of this discourse, and I'm being requested to talk to you on seeking research grants and how do you improve your odds. And I thought that it's within COVID times and even beyond COVID times also, this remains very relevant. Several of us are working in academic and research institutions, and one of our active engagement has been to conduct research. And for conducting research, we need to actually generate resources and funds. And therefore, for all of us, $1 million question is, how do I improve my odds in procuring funding for research? This remains critical, and I think all of us are in search of this particular question, that from where I get resources and what do I do so that I get these resources to undertake research. What I did is that I identified some key thematic areas and I put them into the boxes. I will deliberate to you in the next 15 minutes on these 24 boxes on 2 slides that I have mentioned. And all these boxes you have to tick if you wanted to improve your odds in procuring research grants. Science is sterile if it lacks the social relevance, and policies would crumble on clay feet if they are not firmly placed on a pedestal of valid science. You need to be relevant. No irrelevant research will be funded by any agency. The next important is that what are the implications of the research? Because we all understand that research is merely a tool, but ultimately benefits to the society is the knowledge. And when you talk about knowledge, it has 2 components, knowledge generation and knowledge translation. Knowledge generation through research gives you the thrills of discovery, that you have done something. But knowledge translation actually gives you the satisfaction of the purpose being fulfilled. And therefore, for any piece of research, implications are critical. When you are writing a grant proposal, you need to be very clearly articulate that what are the implications of this particular research and how it is going to benefit to the society. If you address these 2 important issues of relevance and implications, I think that your proposal can sell through, in addition to several issues that we would talk to you, but these remains critical. If your proposal is not relevant in current context, if it doesn't have any implications, then who would buy that proposal? The next important aspect is scientific merit and feasibility. That the methods that we would use to answer your research questions should have scientific merit. They should be appropriately designed study proposal. And the research methodology that has been proposed has to be absolutely appropriate, from study design selection to sampling processes to sample size estimation to analysis to systematic errors. All these aspects are critical and important when you design a proposal. The next important issue when you write a proposal in grant and when you send it to the donor agency is that they would certainly look at your research credentials. Obviously, at the beginning, you would find the challenges, but these are important. That how your CV is built through for the research proposals and research potential is important. Because any organization, they may be knowing you or they may not be knowing you. If they're supporting any piece of research, they would see that whether you would be able to undertake this research. Do you have the adequate research competence which is necessary to undertake this research? Therefore, the research credentials built in your curriculum vitae are important. The next important issue is about the track record. You are, if able to establish a track record over a period of time, then it becomes basically a habit of procuring one another funding opportunities. If you do one good proposal and good one project, then you will get another one. You do 2 to 3 good projects, you will get furthermore projects, and that's how you build a track record of delivering on time, doing good research, contributing to the having implications and contributing to the programs and policies. If you are able to build this track record, you will not have to find the donor agencies. The donor agencies will find you. The research grants, because they wanted good researchers to do research, but they will come to you and find it out. The next important issue is about the research capacity. Any proposal that we develop, we need to ensure that we have a research capacity to work around and deliver that. Suppose you have an integral part of a research question, as for that matter, like economic evaluation of such an intervention, then are you able to independently perform that economic evaluation? Or suppose something that is the analytical part is proposed, like for example, of a multi-level hierarchical modeling or something like that, but are you able to do that? Suppose you are designing a proposal on systematic reviews, but are you able to actually undertake the meta-analysis and you understand the nuances between the fixed effects models and random effects models? All these important issues, and when donor agency would give you money, they would definitely look at whether you have a capacity to undertake this research or not. Of course, the grants writing capacity is extremely critical. We have seen at times people have wonderful ideas, great ideas, but they are not coherently able to put those ideas on a piece of paper. So whatever there is in our head, we should have that skill of putting on the piece of paper coherently written in an appropriate scientific way so that the proposal is understood appropriately. And therefore, the grants writing capacity is extremely important when you write a proposal. The next important issue is linkages with the stakeholders, because although it is not said that like you should know the donor or donor agencies, but if you have the linkages with them, if you're working with them on several initiatives, that is always helpful, because otherwise, suppose you are absolutely unknown, they would only look at your proposal and additional documents like in terms of CV and other research credentials. But if you know them personally, obviously, they would know you as an individual, as a researcher, and your contribution, that would definitely add value. The next important point I wanted to mention is that standing in the field of research, you need to be a research leader. If you are a research leader in a particular area, obviously donor agencies would find it out. Suppose you are working in the area of tuberculosis, or you are involved in a research related to Ayush, or if you are involved in a research related to outbreak investigations, but you need to have your hip pocket competencies and your own standing in a particular area, in a thematic field, so that you are recognized as a leader in that area. And you have to develop that field over a period of time. It never happens that you decide today and tomorrow you become an extraordinary leader in a particular field. It is an investment over a period of time. That could be a strategic and conscious investment over a period of time that you become a leader in a particular field. And for that, you need to actively continue to publish in field. That is extremely important. And I have seen several researchers lag in the field of writing papers. It is important that we continue to write in a particular discipline and area, and we build our own capacity. Sometimes there is the paradoxical argument that on the hands of the researchers or their side, they say that, oh, we have inadequate opportunities in our country or globally for seeking funding. But if you talk to the donor agencies that, I know personally, I have interacted more than 100 donor agencies minimum where I worked, and at my organization we work too. And their question always is that where is the research competence? So there is a paradox. On one hand, we say that the opportunities are limited, but on another hand, the donors are looking for the good research credentials and capacity that where people can contribute and help too. It is also important to understand that we create research teams. We need to understand that none of us is an extraordinary human being that we can have competence in all areas. If we can build a research teams and we have a team approach, then that is absolutely wonderful. Because some of us may be good at statistical skills, some of us maybe have a good writing skills, some of us may be having a good management skills, and if you have a big project, then the management of the project is important. So there are multifaceted skills which are required for implementation of a project. And if we have a team which brings that competence together, then that is extremely useful from the perspective of having the research teams. Then the next important process is know-how, grant seeking process. Because there is a process involved in seeking grants. And it is unfortunately, as a part of our education also, we don't deliberate on these important issues of how to seek the grants. Even many of us are not aware about what is the difference between grant and contracts. Many of us may not be aware about investigator-initiated grant applications and RFPs and funding. So there is a process involved. And understanding this process, deciphering this whole process of seeking grants is extremely important if you wanted to get money from somebody else. And you please remember that at times we feel that donor agencies have a multi-million dollars agenda. Their multi-million dollars are with them. Getting even $100 or $1,000 from anybody, any funding agency, is a difficult challenge. It's not that easy. You can put your, in their pocket and get those $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 easily. Sources of also funding is important. Many of us are not aware that which are the organizations, associations, funding agencies which are funding research in a particular area. Suppose you are doing research in tuberculosis, there are certain agencies which actually funds the research in tuberculosis. If you are working in the field of this, suppose RCH, reproductive and child health, then there are certain agencies globally which funds the research in the area of reproductive and child, and similarly in Ayush and nutrition and health promotion and some thematic areas also. So knowing sources of funding is extremely important. We hardly know. If you ask to count people, they will count on fingers like 5, 10, 20. But there are multiple agencies globally which are funding research and available for us, all of us. Then the research systems and processes. It is not the individual credentials, but institutional credentials are also important. If you are applying through our own institution, then do we have research systems and processes in place in our organization? Do we have institutional board? Do we have institutional research board? Do we have institutional ethics committees? Do we have monitoring boards? Do we have financial systems? Like suppose some funding is to be obtained from some outside agency for which you require FCRA clearance, and do we have that FCRA then with your institution? So these institutional systems and processes are important. But in additionally, institutional research ecosystems and culture is also important. Like I come from an organization, ours is a research-driven organization. We expect our faculty to spend minimum 50% of their time on research grants. And everybody would have at any given point of time, minimum 2 to 3 big research grants that they are working both nationally and internationally. So creating those institutional research ecosystems and culture is also important so that you can get the funds. Then research enabling environment. As I mentioned to you about research-driven institutions, and I'm happy that we just heard Dr. Patwardhan also, and he mentioned about the new education policy. New education policy has given a lot of emphasis on a research-driven university and research-driven institutions. And you would also see that all ranking frameworks, like including our own domestic ranking framework of the university, like National Institution Ranking Framework or any Times or any global ranking frameworks, the research is given a very high importance and relevance. And therefore, I would see that our institutions needs to be transformed into a research-driven institutions so that we can get more fundings. Collaborations are important. You sometimes independently can put a proposal. Recently, we contested a very big grant actually, and at PHFI, there was a debate, and I was leading that effort, that we could have put proposal on our own hand, or on our site. But we partnered with Indian Council of Medical Research, National Institute of Epidemiology in Chennai. We partnered with IIT Mumbai, and then 3 institutions together, IIT Mumbai, PHFI, and ICMR, We all together put a proposal, and with these collaborations, I definitely know the probability probably we would get through that research grant is much more significant than we would have independently contested that grant, because that grant has a lot of mathematical modeling and epidemiologic modeling in the context of new vaccines being made available. Then what would be the scenario in the context of COVID-19 interventions? So we are creating that mathematical model, and we believe that IIT Mumbai and ICMR would bring in add value to the proposal. Collaborations are important. Establishing credibility with the donors is also important, because when we engage with the donors, and if we get one research grant, we have to ensure that we deliver on time, we deliver with perfection, we deliver with appropriate research results, because establishing that credibility is important. You do two good projects with any organization like WHO or UNICEF or even a ministry for that matter, and then if they wanted to do something, they would come to you. They would say that, can you please help us, we wanted to do this. And I tell you, these days 50% of research grants are not through competitive research grants. The donor agencies approach to us and say that we have a money and can you please help us in doing this. So you have to build that credibility over a period of time with the donors. I mentioned briefly about operational issues, but they are critical and important. You need financial management system within your institutions, logistics, HR management, and even, for example, you wanted to get foreign funding, then like you need Foreign Currency Regulation Act clearance. That FCRA clearance is important. Without that, you cannot accept money from the outside donor agency. So those issues are also critical and important for procuring grant. If you don't have FCRA, you are not eligible for getting the money from outside India. Then capacity to handle mega projects. So doing small project is a easy task that it's 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and maybe a $1 million project. Suppose you have a multi-million-dollar project, $5 million, $8 million, $10 million. There are multiple issues involved into that. And that handling those mega projects, it requires building research capacity, and you need that clear experience of and critical experience of handling mega projects. And that is built over a period of time. If you do smaller 10 projects and you learn having that learning from those projects, you will be able to deliver on mega projects with a 5 years duration, $10 million or $15 million project. Collateral funding is important. If you are approaching certain agency and you say that my institution is also putting up 20% fund, or somebody else is also willing to give 20% fund through philanthropy or some CSR, if the collateral funding is there, then the proposal becomes more attractive. The next important thing, the last one that I wanted to mention, is also on focusing on transdisciplinary research, because the research has to be transdisciplinary in the sense our questions. You look at any research question, it is not straightforward and simple research question. These are all multifactorial issues involved into that. If the multifactorial issues involved in a particular research question, you need multi-sectoral approaches to find multi-sectoral solutions for that. And therefore, transdisciplinary research aptitude and approach is critical in solving larger complex research questions. If you bring that into the proposal, you would improve your odds in seeking funding. And finally, you need to realize that when you write a grants proposal, a research proposal, you have to sell it to the funding agency. And therefore, you need to learn that art of salesmanship. Because finally, you are the salesman. You have to sell it to the donor agency with looking at all these issues. So just to conclude that these are the 24 boxes that you have to tick, and that would definitely help you to improve your odds in seeking research grants. Before I close, I would like to say that my gratitude to the organizers for inviting me to talk, but it was just 15 minutes, so I hurriedly ran through it. But it requires a 5 days, 10 days workshop on writing grants proposal, which is critical and important. And I would encourage all of you to build your competence in writing grants, because this is extremely important for your future professional career. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking session, especially providing a matrix view on research grant, starting from the relevance, grant writing, building a research team, and collateral funding with many more parts. Thank you very much, sir.